Oh my gosh, it feels like forever since I've done this to like sit and record. So it definitely feels good to be back. Anyway, just getting myself into the swing of things. I'm sure we all have these type of friends. We've got the one type of friend who's up at the crack of dawn, 4 a.m., 5 a.m. club type of person who's just so awake at that moment in time. You're just like, how is this even possible? And then you've got friends on the other spectrum where they are up to late hours, 2 a.m., 3 a.m. So in this video, we're going to be finding out if this whole morning night people thing is actually a real science, because we all can function early in the morning and sometimes we have to go late into the night doing our work. We're going to be discovering how this affects you as a student and how you can work around it. Our sleep-wake cycle is dictated by our circadian rhythm, which is an internal body clock that regulates our energy levels throughout the day, and it operates in a 24-hour cycle, which generally follows the patterns of the sun. So most people feel awake when it is light and they feel sleepy when it is dark. However, the specific timing of this schedule varies from person to person, and this variability is what is known as a chronotype, which is the official term of whether you're a morning or a night person. So morning people have an early chronotype, meaning that they wake up early, feel their best earlier in the day, whereas night people, they've got a later chronotype, meaning that they feel more awake later on in the day. Both night owls and early birds are equally productive, just at very different times of the day. However, night owls are usually at a disadvantage because obviously societal demands expect us to go to work, go to school. Most of our daily routine usually starts in the morning, and this is the worst time for night owls because this is the time when they're the most sluggish and they're the most tired, and they experience a lower cognitive ability and physical performance as a result. Your chronotype is largely genetic, meaning it's something that you're born with, something that you're more inclined to be able to do or more inclined to be that. However, your age, your environment, and the type of lifestyle that you have can affect your chronotype. For example, people that do night shift work usually will shift their chronotype to be more of a night person than early morning because that's just how life is for them. There's actually a study done where a few night hours were actually asked to change a few things in their routine to 2 to 3 hours earlier than usual, and it actually changed their chronotype to be a lot earlier than it was previously. So they were asked to change their bedtime to 2 to 3 hours earlier, the time that they have breakfast, the time that they go to sleep, the time that they wake up, and that sort of thing. So changing things in your lifestyle can change your chronotype. So being a morning or a night person affects your student experience very differently for each person. Usually your morning people are at an advantage, especially with those 8:30 mornings, your 6:30 clock in times at work, etc. However, when it comes to crunch time, exam period, project period, and that sort of thing, when you have to sometimes have to work late into the night, that is when the night hours shine and they're more advantaged during this period of times. So should you change your chronotype? Because while society expects you to be able to function early in the morning and able to be more calmer later in the day, personally I don't think you should change your chronotype because that is what you're genetically predisposed to. It comes naturally to you and you don't have to force anything for it to work to your advantage. As a result, I believe that you should understand and know what type of chronotype you have, and as a result work your routine according to your personal chronotype, and it's much easier for you to be able to get things done because you're not forcing your body to do things that naturally just doesn't want to do. So starting off with my squad, which is the early birds, you need to make sure that you practice good sleep hygiene. And what I mean by this is because you're a morning person, you function way better in the morning. However, how you function in the morning can be affected with what happened the previous night. As a result, if you're going to be distracting yourself, watching movies, spending time on your phone, Instagram and TikTok can be very addictive, and trust me, hours can pass without you even realizing. So there's no point in you needing to function early in the morning, then you're going to sleep late. So make sure that you're sleeping early, making sure you always go to the bed at the same time, waking up at the same time. Your body just builds a routine around that. Talking about early mornings, you don't need to do as much heavy preparation during the night as a night owl would have to do, because you are at an advantage, because you are more awake, you're cognitively more alert during the early mornings, which is usually where your classes are. As a result, you don't have to do as much heavy preparation because you are active and you are awake during class. That means you can concentrate better, you'll be able to follow more what's happening in class, because that's the time where you best shine. Next thing is you need to plan your life according to when you're the most awake. For most early birds, we are usually awake, we're active, we are on the roll from the hours of about 6 a.m. up until 12 p.m. So you need to make sure that all your big projects, all your classes, all the heavy cognitively strenuous activities, you're doing them early in the morning, so that all the simple stuff, running your errands, answering emails, doing simple homework, you do that later on in the day when you're the least most active, when you don't have as much energy. So you need to make sure that whatever activities that you're planning around your life, the ones that require the most mental energy, you do them when you're the most awake. However, when I said you work on a spectrum, your early hours might be from 10 until 3 p.m. So you need to work according to your schedule and what your own body tells you. We all know the times that we're the most awake. So most early bed, the day starts very early at 6, but for you it might be 10, and that's okay. That's the whole point of this video, is for you to understand what your chronotype is, where do you fit in on that spectrum, and work according to that, but obviously working around the different things that you need to do, like school, homework, etc. Next thing is your diet. As I mentioned in the beginning of these steps, is you need to have a good sleep hygiene. So you need to make sure that your meal times are at least 2 hours before your bedtime. This is to prevent you feeling bloated early in the morning and very sluggish, because obviously you don't rest well if you have a late dinner, because your body is doing its digestive processes while you're sleeping. That means it's not fully resting, it's not fully restoring your body to prepare you for the next day. So make sure that your meals at least 2 hours before bedtime. Breakfast should be your heaviest meal because you need that fuel for the rest of the day, and dinner should be your lightest meal because you don't need that energy during the night. If you're a night owl, you need to keep yourself in check regarding your bedtime. It's easy for you guys to get distracted and work till very late hours of the day. So you need to give yourself a limit, and you still need to make sure that you're getting your 6 to 8 hours. So even if you're going to work till 2 a.m., you need to make sure that you're at least still getting 6 to 8 hours of sleep, because you do need rest. Even though you can work long hours into the night, you still need to make sure that you are resting. The second thing is you need to use the late hours that you can work to your advantage. So this is the time where you need to do your heavy preparation for the next class, because in the morning you're not as in tune with the class, you're not as active as your early birds are. As a result, you need to use your early morning classes to be asking questions, to be making sure that you understood the work that you're doing the night before. So for you guys, you sort of work in opposite to what morning people do. Morning people, they just need to know what's happening in class, and then in class they come to learn extensively, whereas with night people, you learn extensively on your own, doing pre-class preparation, and when you come to class, it's just about asking questions and making sure you understand, because you're not as active and you can't take in as much information as a morning person would. The third thing as a night person is you need to keep your morning routine as simple as possible, because obviously you're waking quite late into the night and you can't be waking super early for you to still bath and all of that jazz. So you need to keep your morning routine as simple as possible, maximum 30 minutes if it really is, so that you at least give yourself a bit more time to sleep and you don't have to go through this whole long morning routine, etc. So you can either bath the night before, so that in the morning you're just washing your face, brushing your teeth, putting on fresh clothes, and then you go with the day, and then at night you bath again. Or if you really do prefer to bath in the morning, then just make sure everything has been packed the night before, your lunches, your bags, etc., so that in the morning just shower, getting dressed, and you're out. So keep things very simple for yourself. So the moral of the story of this video is you need to be aware of the type of chronotype that you have, and for you to schedule your life around that, you really need to be very cognizant of your most active times and your down times, the times that you're the most active and the least active, and schedule your tasks according to that, because each task has a certain amount of energy that it requires. As a result, those things need to match up, because you can't be assigning a studying task at the times where you are very exhausted. You're not going to get anything in, and it's going to be very counterproductive for you. As a result, studying should not be haphazard, it should be planned. So make sure that you are scheduling your life. It doesn't have to be overly complicated and dramatic, but just assigning the type of task with the energy that is required. Last thing that I'd like to mention in this video is, if you're part of my mailing list, you would have received an email at the same time that this video went live. That video just provided extra tips on how to accommodate and optimize your life as either a morning or a night person. And if you're not part of the mailing list, I would definitely suggest that you sign up down below. So until next week Friday, 12 p.m. South African time, have an awesome one. Bye guys.